Okay, working under the assumption everything is working properly this time. I should be live. Yes, okay, excellent. Go in here. That's still muted. Waiting for the chat. Live chat. Watching myself move in the past is kind of odd. And sending message to chat. Hello. Deepest apologies for the hardcore boomerism. Hi, Monkey. Technically, you're not first because I fucked up and started a stream with the wrong label on it. So, I'm actually, this is the second stream I've posted out. But, yeah, bear with me. I'm going to get this shilled out and then we'll get into the show proper. I'm going to run to about 1:45 today. Normally, I run to about 12:30. But because of the boomerisms, yeah, I gotta go a bit later than usual. So I need this. And also, I apologize if you guys are hearing my Discord notifications. Second first. There you go. Good attitude to have. So hopefully all is going well with you, my friend. Control home. Okay. And I do apologize again. Normally you guys don't get to hear all those keystrokes, but today's a bit special. Whew. Okay, tweet is sent. Which is kind of pointless because this thing is supposed to tweet itself out. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, hello, Stormy. I'm not 100% sure what happened. I think because I added a new, what I thought would be a reasonably simple change to my Streamlabs setup. Of course, I was then bitten by the ghost of Murphy. And discovered that, yes, in fact, Virginia, there is a Krampus. Oops, did that not post? Okay, that posted. Good. Parlor has posted. Good. Post to MeWe. Posting to my getter. And yes, hello. Oh, for God's sakes. Goddamn typo. Yes, very minor typos actually even is almost enough to make me want to go back and restart this whole process. I won't be doing that. Anything that's already posted can remain with a minor typo. I will live with it, much as I absolutely despise typos. And my Subscribestar. I'd also like to thank whoever my second subscriber is on Subscribestar. I have a new subscriber on the Canon level, which is $25 a month. Unfortunately, they haven't put anything for a... They haven't set up a custom username. The user is listed as user number, I believe it's 926, and then a string of hexadecimal alphanumerics, whatever the hell the term is. Okay, that went... Now I'm wondering if I got my Subscribestar properly. Yeah, hello. Hi, Prime Knight. How's it going? Wow. Okay, so that's all posted properly. Very rapid shilling to Discord again, now that I've sorted out what the problem was. And get through this kind of quick because I already had a bunch of the channels open that I need. And to Monkey's server, the Shademaster server, Promethean Heals, Patriot Brunchcast. For the record, folks, if you're interested, it appears that I have essentially fallen into the recurring co-host role on Patriot Brunchcast's stream. Why are you not properly showing up? Okay, that's not good. I think I screwed up somewhere. So I will edit that. Control A, Control C, escape. And see, there we go. Okay, Bleach's channel is not fighting me this time. Ooh, 4 more to go. Actually, I think it's closer to 6 or 7. So I guess I'll give you the Mike Myers impression. I'm all verklempt, talk amongst yourselves. Really? Okay. And again, as I... why are you not... computer's freezing. Just what I need. Come on, there it goes. Okay. Did I get that successfully posted there? Okay. I am in far too many servers on Discord to continue doing this every week. I had tried to do a scheduled stream this week. Thought I had worked it out properly. I don't think I did. I think I fucked up somewhere. Okay. And now all the shilling is done. Based Ape asks, do flat-chested women grow boobs when they get pregnant? Yes. And thank you for bringing up the fact that I do, in fact, do an eternal AMA when I do these. Thank God I had the good sense to put whiskey in that this morning. I'm gonna need it. Okay. All shilling finally done. Stream appears to be stable. Host may not be. Okay, let me move my chair in just a little touch. I will point out that I encountered one of my viewers recently, and they were nice enough to, having enjoyed my Remembrance Day piece, they were quite nice enough to have created a little 3D printed poppy for me. So I want to thank that viewer very much. Thank you. And because I appreciate my supporters very much, I'm going to make sure that gets pride of place. That will remain there until either I frig up like an idiot, knock it down and break it, which I will be trying my damnedest to avoid, or until I need to change my setup again, which I don't expect to have to do, though I should probably get some of the junk off the shelf. Okay. Give me a hey-ho in chat if you guys can still hear me. And we'll get on with the show. And we'll run to about, as I said, about 12:45 today. About 12:45. Can I get a hey-ho? Excellent. Thank you, Monkey. Much appreciated. And get that lined up. Okay, so I will bring the thumb back, as I generally do when I start these. Thank you, Stormy. I appreciate the hey-ho. So, here's the thumbnail, and I will apologize. I woke up a little late, so I threw it together in a bit of a hurry. But, has anyone else noticed that Trudeau doesn't seem to be capable of taking a really good picture unless it's extremely posed? Yeah. Strange, but it is what it is. Speaking of weak people, not that one, these ones. A BC conservation group has raised concerns over conservation officers' weapons. If you're already one step ahead of me and thinking, oh, what is it, the black plastic thing? It's the black plastic thing. So, let me just see if I can zoom that in a little more so we can read that all together. There we go. BC conservation group Pacific Wild has written an open letter to Premier Designate David Eby, or Eby, I'm not 100% sure, haven't heard his name spoken, asking him to address what it calls the paramilitarization of the BC Conservative Officer Service and Ministry of Forests. Paramilitarization. Okay, so in the letter, the author of the letter, Bryce Casavant, a former conservation officer who was fired in 2015 for refusing to cull 2 orphaned bear cubs. Now, just to put my face, oops, wrong one, wrong face, my face, there we go, just to put my face back on screen, that's part of your job, dude. It's a brutal and horrible part of your job. And I actually have to, oh, okay, no, I'm scanning the article on as well. Bryce is, in fact, a man's name, or at least someone who identifies as a man. Hello, it's 2022. Who knows anymore? But, oh, Christopher, hey, hello, mon ami. Finally, the Canadian is out of his woman back on the internet. No, that's not fair. I was out of my woman and back on the internet yesterday. You're just angry because I send out my videos later than usual now, and it's past your very early bedtime. In any case, I'll go back to having a quick read of this. So, Bryce Casavant was fired in 2015 for refusing to cull 2 orphaned bear cubs. So, in other words, a conservation officer who refused to do his job later sued the province to get his job back and his last pay returned. Now, as with far too much Canadian journalism, this is not a good sentence. It doesn't tell you if he actually successfully sued the province or not. If he didn't successfully sue the province, then writing this letter is sour grapes and him taking a swing at people that he just wants to harm because he perceives that he's been slighted. However, in the letter, Casavant says conservation officers' hunting rifles have been replaced with what he calls assault-style rifles. Now, to be fair, the issue here for Mr. Casavant seems to be the 30-round magazine that is used in wolf culling from a helicopter. The use of these rifles, coupled with the prohibited 30-round magazine, is a very serious matter, he told CBC News. I think recall is warranted for the protection of wildlife. For the protection of wildlife. As if he thinks wildlife officers are going out and willy-nilly just blowing the wildlife off the planet. Christopher's screeching in chat. Prime Knight points out he doesn't think bear cubs do well raised in captivity or with a surrogate mother, if they even will take them. There is that. There's also the issue of transportation. A lot of times conservation officers are not traveling in a vehicle equipped to simply take these creatures. Also, there may be more to that particular incident. There may have been potential for rabies. There may have been potential for disease. There may have been many issues. The cubs could very well have been starving because the mother was dead. We don't know. And this is why a rush to judgment is often something I wish to avoid. I am trying to judge this based solely on what is presented here. And what is presented here strikes me as someone who was unwilling to do their job because they were unsuited to it. Christopher says, sometimes I think that Canada should be wiped out too, just like France. Well, look, it should all be, instead of having Disney Europe or Disney Hong Kong or all this, we should simply have America Europe and America North and come take our friggin' oil and give us your well, not your democracy, but give us your freedoms. Your democracy is in a bit of bad shape. But in the open letter dated October 25th, Pacific Wild, which I'm very curious to look up here. Pacific Wild. And that's actually not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go directly to this. Our team. As I am willing to bet Bryce Casavant is going to feature somewhat prominently on this. Now that just says Manager of Finance. What am I looking at here? Here we are. Oh, look at that. He's the Director of Conservation Intelligence. well, he's got no investment in this. But the issue is that, and this is very interesting, Pacific Wild called out the government over the use of firearms it described as semi-automatic and intended for military use. Now, before you guys all start screeching in the chat, yes, and let me put my face back on screen for you. Yes, I know damned well that military use and semi-automatic don't go together. A semi-automatic firearm, for those of you who don't know and may be watching this in the future, because I'm pretty sure you won't be in my chat, a semi-automatic firearm is one where you take the trigger and you go bang and you get one bullet. Then you go click because it opens the trigger up. Then you go bang and you get one bullet. A military weapon generally has allowance for full automatic, where you go click and it goes bang, 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 until the ammunition compartment, call it a magazine, call it a clip, call it whatever you want. The issue is, until that thing is empty and you're holding that trigger, it keeps going bang, 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 bang. That is a military item. You can't get that as a civilian, except with possibly massive exemptions in Canada, or massive exceptions in Canada. You can't license a fully automatic firearm in Canada, at least from right now moving forward. In the past, yeah, maybe you could have grandfathered something. I don't know. Callan Dayton's popped in. Hey, all, what's happening? Oh, we're talking about weak people and Trudeau. Not necessarily exclusive. Canada's doing stupid things again. Yes, Callan, that's right. Yeah, maybe we should all just do, like, This Week in My Stupid Country segments. Prime Night, bear, wolves, even cougars take several rounds to take down. Yes, and this is something I will come to as well. Hosted by a ball of woodworking. Essentially, this is gun look military scary. Yes. So just to get that back on screen. And I do apologize again for my cough, folks. I have a bit of a cold, I think. I really hope my girlfriend isn't getting sick. So here's the gist of this. Okay, the use, possession, and deployment of these weapons suggests to the public that the province is paramilitarizing our wildlife conservation services. Now, when I get to what they're actually using, it's going to be hilarious. And you guys will all appreciate this. This situation now presents a reasonable probability of escalating officer use of force on non-human species. We call those animals. And contributing to greater ministry and government liabilities in the long term. Non-human species. Why would you not simply use animal species? Well, to be fair, I tend to lump human in with animal, so that's fair. But this is a bit of an unusual phrase. This kind of throws me a little bit. The Freedom of Information request, which Pacific Wild shared with media, details protocols and procedures for killing wolves as part of a call announced in 2015. Now, this is intended to prevent further decline of caribou populations. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Culling is not necessarily a bad idea. Where the caribou is being used for sustainable food for people. If that's not what's going on, if the level of caribou hunting is minimal, there's no reason to kill the wolves, because the wolves and the caribou will get themselves into balance. Here in Newfoundland, one of the things that happens is that the lynx and Arctic hare, I almost said rabbit, that's the local word for Arctic hare. I want to be a little more technically accurate. But the lynx and Arctic hare populations kind of fluctuate against each other. If there are more hare, the lynx will eat more hare. Means you have less hare, the lynx start to starve. You have fewer lynx. And a balance is reached eventually, and that balance tends to fluctuate a fair bit. But it still stays within a certain range. If, however, a cull were declared against the lynx, then your Arctic hare population is going to shoot way up, which would be great for the hunters, because, you know, a lot of people do like Arctic hare. I remember I ate quite a bit of it growing up. I wouldn't mind some now, come to think of it. But it's not exactly the most nutritious food either. But one has to keep in mind that the lynx actually keeps out other predators by out competition. So, with things like the eastern coyote, wolf, whatever term you want to use for them, basically the new wolves that are moving into Newfoundland, these coyote-wolf hybrids, they're going to be competing with the lynx very shortly for rabbit. So, yeah, nature abhors a vacuum. Let me see. Anyone, girlfriend, female? What is this heresy? There's only on this. I'm sorry, Primed. I've apparently let the entire side down and gone and gotten laid. Yeah, sorry. Bobcats in Florida, definitely no lynx so far south. No, lynx tend to be very northern climate snow creatures. Sweden didn't have wolves until about 2 decades ago. Now we have about a dozen packs. Never had wolves naturally, or they were culled out. Hair isn't nutritious, don't put it in your food. Monkey, no! Okay, I have to get away from my chat for a minute. Excuse me. So now we're coming to the most... okay, thank you, Primed. I figured that. And that's what happened here in Newfoundland as well. That the wolves were hunted to extinction. And if I recall correctly, the Newfoundland wolf, the species that we had here, was in fact the largest species recorded at the time. Now, there may be larger ones now. I don't know. Lynx are in fact pretty animals. I've seen one in person in the natural environment. Not in the circumstance I would have liked, because I had surprised it, potentially stalking me. I'm not 100% sure, but they are very beautiful creatures. But they're also to be treated with extreme caution. And had that creature approached me as opposed to freezing and then bolting, I may have been very messed up. It wasn't particularly large, but yeah. Just one moment, I have to clear my throat, and it's going to be loud. Okay. Hopefully that's got that clear. So, here's the most humorous part of this. They talk about these military weapons and things, but this is what they're using. They're using a 308, which is, they're using, worse, a 308 semi-automatic rifle equipped with extended 30-round magazines. Ooh, sounds scary. And a fucking red dot. For quick and accurate target acquisition to cull wolves from a helicopter. Now, let's come back to me. I've never fired a rifle from a moving helicopter, and I've never gone wolf culling. However, I am aware that wolves run, and I am also aware that helicopters jiggle and shake. So the 30-round magazine, what that tells me is, oh, that's so I can go bang, 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 and make sure I hit a wolf. Make sure I bring the wolf down. Make sure I don't injure it and cruelly leave it to bleed to death. Yeah. This was written by a guy who had been a conservation officer. My thinking is he should not have been a conservation officer at all. It doesn't seem like Mr. Cassavant was ever suited to it. So he may have taken the position thinking, I love animals, this will help me protect animals. That's not a conservation officer's job. A conservation officer's job is to make sure that hunting is done properly. That's really what it amounts to. In BC, they also have the Ministry of Forests is connected, so I assume there's some overlap with the forestry industry as well. Let me see. Oh, Patriot has popped in. Hi, Patriot. Nice to see you. I just had to scroll back just a little bit. Lynx, pretty animals, beautiful creatures. Yeah, Stormy, you're right. Lynx are beautiful creatures. I think I covered or discussed that a little bit. Prime Knight says he's never seen a Scandinavian lynx. Mini deer, hare, and red fox. Foxes are also very nice animals. I'm more of a canid person myself. Christopher Everett says big cats are scary. Oh yes, they're meant to scare you because that's your natural instinct or your ancestors going, run the fuck away, you idiot. Actually, it's generally get ready to fight or get ready to run that your ancestors or your genetics or your instincts are telling you. Let's see. Prime Knight says he's seen boar culling in America, helicopter and high caliber semi-auto rifles. Yeah. Patriot doesn't live out in the wilderness, but I've seen thousands of alligators when I went to the swamps as a kid. Cool. Gators are scary. I've never seen a gator in real life. I've seen enough footage to know I don't want to hug one. Callum Dayton says he's only done heli shooting in the simulators, Arma, and other like games. The best way to hit something is volume of fire. Exactly. And these wolf colors aren't getting shot back at. Yeah, but you hit the perfect point there. Volume of fire. If you want to... Patriot says wild pigs can be a real problem. They tear up people's lawns. And Sasquatch is in. Hi, Sasquatch. Nice to see you. Is gator meat good? From what I understand, it's kind of in between... I think it was Brandon Herrera characterized it as in between chicken and... I've actually forgotten. I think chicken and beef, but I'm not 100% sure. Gators are super tame usually. Even in the water, they'll usually leave you alone. A few weeks of your mating season do they attack people. It's kind of like moose then. If you leave them alone, they won't bother you. Unless they're horny, and then they're angry. Anyway, back to the story, now that we've gotten to the meat of the matter, for lack of a better term. But this guy is calling a 308 semi-auto with a red dot and a 30-round magazine military style, or assault style. Now, and of course, in general, individuals in Canada must not possess magazines that hold more than 5 to 10 cartridges, depending on the weapon. In 2020, Canada banned, not Canada, I'm sorry, Trudeau. Trudeau banned licensed gun owners from selling, transporting, importing, or using some 1,500 makes and models of military grade and assault style weapons. Anyone who has any understanding of the term military grade knows that that means that it was constructed by the lowest bidder. Yeah, no. Military grade, not good. And assault style, this is a fable. This is a lie. There is no such thing as an assault style weapon. There is no definition for the term. And just to prove that, I will do this. We have assault weapon. We have assault style weapons. Oh, the free dictionary. This ought to be entertaining. And it's also found in medical. That's interesting. But that doesn't say assault style anymore. Notice that? Redirected from assault style. Yeah. So if we take this, copy that, go to their search bar, and search, what do we got? That's what we got. Circular reasoning. So even these people don't actually talk about what an assault style weapon is. They don't use the term. Assault weapons, assault style weapons. Of course, it's Captain Knob. But again, nowhere here does it actually show a definition for assault style weapon, because it's a bullshit term. Now, Cassavant says the weapon described in the Wolf Cull Freedom of Information is the same one now issued to BC, that's British Columbia for those of you who aren't aware, conservation officers. An officer posing for a picture posted on the service's Twitter page on September 25th has one of the rifles on his shoulder. Excellent. Let's have a look at Twitter. So what am I looking for? That is the... Okay, let's do a quick search here. PCCOS. Is that going to give me what I'm looking for? Yes, here we are. And the date was, if I recall correctly, September 25th. Beautiful. So we will go to the BCCO service. Oh, what a nice looking dog. Good puppy. Okay. Bad bear. Oh, looks like he's been in a bit of a scrap. So, let's look at tweets. November 11th. It's very nice to see people showing the poppy, showing the pride. I'm looking for September 25th. October. Oh, thank God these guys aren't like wine moms who produce dozens of tweets a day. October 4th, October 3rd, September 29th, September 25th, September 22nd. Okay, so. Oh, look, it's a scary black plastic rifle. Do we have another from that day? 25th. Oh, yes, there we are. We might actually even have a good shot of the pic of it there. So, does anyone know what a bar is? I'm sure at least some members. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Even the Papa Shah is mostly wood, Prime Night. So it's going to look apparently less dangerous than this. Actually, probably very well constructed. Probably an AR platform rifle. Let me just close that. Now, it would be nice if I could find an image of the rifle itself. But what I will do is this. Let's try 308 AR and see what comes up. See if it's close. That looks relatively close. But it's probably something closer to this, I think, without the suppressor and scope. So, is this less scary with the camo paint, guys? Like, honestly, this... Why is this more scary than... Oh my. I forget sometimes Google is dumber than I am. There we are. Why is that weapon scarier than this weapon? Like, seriously. Why is the black plastic one scarier than this one? These are basically the same weapons that they're using. It's certainly the same caliber. 308 is what the bar fires. But what I don't understand is why... Ah, here we are. And an independent arms and ammunition store in Vancouver told CBC News that the rifle appears to be a 308 caliber AR platform modern sporting rifle. Said the weapon is common in Canada, used for hunting sport and law enforcement. Pacific Wild says it's concerned officers aren't receiving adequate training. No, that's not what your concern was. Your concern was that the British Columbia Conservation Office was being paramilitarized. That's what you said at the beginning here. Where are we here? Yes. Paramilitarization. That's not the same thing as bad training or lacking training. Now, the service itself, of course, has said that they don't say the exact type of rifle its frontline officers are using, probably because the word AR is so, or the identifier AR is so poisoned in public perception that they don't want to have to deal with the optical issues. And yeah, some of the rifles were 30 years old. Personally, my thinking is if they're 30 years old and still accurate, keep using them. Save the money from the taxpayer. Okay, here we are. Here's what the issue is. Cassavant, who's the guy who wrote this open letter complaining about paramilitarization, said that officers previously used a 306 bolt-action rifle with an internal 5-round magazine. Guys, is that an M1? Guys who know guns better than I do, yeah, Browning automatic rifle, thank you very much. Oh, that's a 306, or 30-06, is it? I was under the impression it was 308. Maybe I have that wrong. And I'm definitely going to have to pop into my chat and have a quick scan through the comments in a second. But yes, officers would have to action the bolt to fire the rifle once, whereas the new weapons fire a bullet each time the trigger is pulled. You know, like a revolver. Honestly. all the training in the world can't remove the stupid from some of these people. Oh no, every time you pull the trigger it goes bang. Yes, well, we want you to fly in a helicopter with a rifle that you have to go bang and lose your friggin' target completely, as opposed to being able to go bang, 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 and make sure you took the animal down. Yeah. I'm guessing Mr. Kazavat, who's a former conservation officer, isn't aware that wolves come in more than one. They come in groups of more than one. Happens. Yeah, it's called a pack. Genius. Okay, I've had pretty much enough of this guy. But I wanted to bring that up just to show you how, or why I use the word weak. Let's go with, what will we use next? I will actually bring up a story showing Trudeau actually doing a good thing. I know. Believe me, I know. But we'll just prep that for just a moment, and I'll zip back through my chat. Holy crap, guys! You know, thank you so much for your engagement. This is really, really nice to see. I love seeing people have conversations. Especially if I'm doing something to provoke the thought or the conversation itself. That's one of my goals, certainly. Almost a vocation in some ways. And I've been doing that since I was a kid. I would ask questions that would be very provocative. Let's see here. Sweden tried Moose Cavalry. Oh god, the Moose Cavalry has made another appearance. I do love the idea of a Moose Cavalry. Because if you could get those things to actually charge as a cohesive unit, that would be glorious and terrifying. Like, anyone who's ever seen, say, the Hobbit movie, or the Hobbit movies, sorry, the Peter Jackson Hobbit movies, and I do apologize if I get the name wrong, but the Elven King Elendil, if I've got that right, watching him riding that stag, there was some issues with that as well, CGI interesting, but watching him ride that animal into battle was absolutely hilariously wonderful. Let's see, farm-raised gator tail is pretty tasty. It's a bit like chicken in consistency, but a bit fishy. Oh, okay. Something's telling me that deep-fried battered gator might not be too bad then. Gator bites. Let's see here. Callum Dayton says, the only assault-style weapon I know is in my tabletop gaming, where assault-type weapon would be like a flamer. yeah, more DACA. Definitely more DACA. And Callum says we can add shotguns to that as well. Prime Knight says, show them an MP18, mostly wood, but in an SMG. Yeah. Let me just pull one up here. MP18. And I had caught that comment because I pointed out that the PPSH 41, I think, is the Papa Shah, what they call the Papa Shah. It's mostly wood. Yeah. Here's your MP18 right here. Let me just throw that up for a second. Look at that. Look at how friggin' scary that thing is. New tab. There we go. Bring you up. Like, this thing is terrifying. And if you don't know why it's terrifying, that's a very big magazine. That's probably 100 rounds in there. And it's a tiny little, cute little looking gun. No black plastic, no scary red dot. I guarantee you that thing would do way more damage than those rifles I showed you earlier, in terms of actual body count. Okay. And I'll put my face back on screen while we run through the chat just a little more. Wow, I'm actually rolling through this rather slowly for once. Let's see, Browning. Yes, Callum Dayton was nice enough to point out that BAR is an abbreviation for Browning Automatic Rifle. I was under the impression it was a 308. Maybe I had that wrong. But even if it's a 30-06 or a 306, it's still an automatic rifle. And the word automatic is what you get when you're dealing with military weapons. Civilians almost everywhere never get access to automatic weapons legally. Let's see, where are we? Prime Knight says the reason guns look like that is it's the military weapon style is black and plastic. But it didn't used to be. Like, with the submachine gun that I just showed you, that was a military weapon. It was also a police weapon. Generally not with a drum mag, but the thing is, people who look at a black plastic item and an item with wooden furniture, guns, and it can be the exact same gun. Like, I could strip all the plastic off of that rifle that I showed you. That wasn't absolutely 100% necessary for the function of the gun, for the gun to go bang when you pull the trigger. I could strip all that off, replace it with wood. It would still be the same weapon, still be just as dangerous. It would just be prettier. Prime Knight says new hunting rifles can come in black plastic with pistol grip and detachable magazine. Is that an AR? No, an AR, the technology in an AR is, and guys help me out here if I get this wrong. If I recall correctly, it's Armalite Rifle is the what the AR abbreviation stands for, and that's an actual company that created or patented a specific type of feed mechanism, receiver, bolt setup. It's a little technically beyond me, just to the point that I understand it. An AR is different from an AK in kind of the same way that a Harley Davidson is different from a Ninja motorcycle. They do the same thing, they just do them differently. Different technology to accomplish the same feat. Or slightly different technology. Patriot says, we talked the other day about banning assault black plastic spoons. There's no reason why a normal person needs a spoon like that. Not unless they're eating lots of pudding or... Yeah, far too much pudding then is allowable by law. Prime Knight wants to know if you get a golden skin for your spoon after 100 cups of pudding. A golden pudding cup. Leaving. What? Who's leaving? Trudeau smart. Yeah, Trudeau is smart. S-M-A-R-T. Oh, let's see. Just got to the more DACA. Patriot says I provoked that one guy into conversation last week. Yeah, I did figure out who that was afterwards. He trolls on Discord significantly, and yeah, I couldn't care less. Thanks for the engagement, really. Christopher Everard says riding a pig is better than riding a stag. I disagree. I think we need man-capable or rider-capable Newfoundland dogs. I think that would be far better. And we'd only have to size them up about 2 points. Yes, Sasquatch. More DACA. Always more DACA. Fried gator tail bits are actually how it's most commonly served. Not surprised. The Ruger Mini 14. Yeah, that's almost... Other than what looks like a metal rod coming out of the front of it, the Ruger Mini 14 is all wood. It's... Yeah, but that's still... I don't know if the Mini 14 was a military rifle. I think that was the civilian version of a military rifle. I may have that wrong, too. Slow-ass fire rate. Yeah. 20-round mag. Yeah. Floridians and Georgians. Oof. Swamp people. Just kidding, guys. I don't know enough about the topography, terrain of that area to really say you're all swamp people. I know the Everglades kind of, if I'm right, they bridge kind of from Florida into Georgia a little bit, and then on the other side of Georgia, and I may have this wrong, I think it's Alabama, but it might also be Louisiana. Is it Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas? Is that how those 5 states kind of line up? If that's right, let me know. Let's see. Patriot says automatic weapons are usually a pretty poor choice for a civilian anyway. Way too much chance of hitting a bystander. Yes. My biggest issue is I tend to look at hunting for civilian use. Because really when you're talking about self-defense as a civilian, you're far better off packing a pistol. If we're talking about home defense as a civilian, where you're in a situation where you're literally in your home, I would highly recommend a suppressed semi-automatic rifle. something like a carbine. Excuse me again. Let's see. I was looking at some... Oh, yes. The reason that I don't like automatic weapons for hunting isn't because... Or for civilians, rather, is because I think in terms of hunting. Generally because I live in a very low crime area. But an automatic weapon for a hunter isn't a great choice, because if you have something with a very high fire rate, you're going to chew up the meat. And if you're only going out to get a trophy, you're still going to take a massive risk of destroying the trophy. For example, if you want to take down a 10-point buck, and you're using something like, say, a 308 in automatic, that's going to punch a lot of holes, very big holes, in what you want to keep for a trophy. Ideally, if you're hunting, and my father taught me this, ideally, if you're hunting, you want to put one round into your target and drop it, which is why you don't hunt moose with a 22. Let's see here. Sasquatch says he has a tactical spork. New hunting rifles. Automatic weapons, use your pro-choice. Prime Knight says my comment about new hunting rifles was sarcastic against the author of the article. Okay, fair enough. Callum Dayton points out, the thing about plastic is it doesn't need to be cleaned, so it doesn't rust like metal wood, and it doesn't rot or change like wood does. Properly sealed, properly treated, properly worked wood will not change once that seal is applied. That's the major reason why you varnish a wood item. And Brunchcast is nice enough to misspell Newfoundland. Where you put the break between new and found, you should actually put that break between found and land. That's a little bit of a mnemonic, a tool so that you can kind of realize we're not the new found land, we're the newfound land. And I think that actually might help with pronunciation for a lot of people. Because we do say we're Newfoundlanders. Dogs spine aren't capable of long-term riding. Don't ask how I know. Oh dear God. That actually makes me feel really bad about some of the dogs I used to play with when I was a kid, because I spent a lot of time trying to get them to, giddy up. And I wasn't a small kid. Oof, I feel really bad now. It'll pass. Patriot is suggesting that Sasquatch be careful to avoid getting the black plastic tactical spork. You may get in trouble. Mississippi. Oh, I did forget Mississippi in my listing there. Yeah, I really don't know American geography as well as I think I do. Oh, it's Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. So, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Okay. Thank you. Newfoundland dogs are strong enough to be used for pulling large loads of cargo, which they were used for years now per communities in Newfoundland. Yes, Stormy, that's absolutely true. There's loads of pictures online to be found of Newfoundland dogs pulling wood carts. Basically, massive loads of wood pulled by dogs. Patriot says he'll just get rid of all the spaces in Newfoundland and play it safe. Good call. Yes, okay. So that's through the chat. Much as I hate to do this, Trudeau actually does occasionally do good things. And I do think this is a good thing. Trudeau is pledging $1 million. Ooh, big money. For clearing landmines and cluster bombs in Cambodia and Laos. He's wrapped up his first stop in Southeast Asia by announcing nearly $1 million to help remove unexploded landmines and cluster bombs from the region. Now, that said, this is the same piece of shit who gave tens of millions of dollars to various countries in Africa run by essentially warlords to help with their LGBTQ problems. Some days, I tell you. Anyway, back to this story. The fact that it's only $1 million makes you believe it could actually be for a good cause. Fair, yeah. Let me see. Okay, so this is the ASEAN here, or ASEAN. I won't pronounce it Asian because it's clearly not meant to be. But this is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Apparently Trudeau is trying to suck up to them now. Oh, not even $1 million. And it was at an event focused on women and security. Well, way to just not stay on point there, Trudeau. Good job. Let's see. Canada has been pushing countries in the region to stop using these types of munitions and to fund remediation for decades. The 97 Ottawa Treaty sought to ban the production of anti-personnel mines and commit to remediation, a pledge embraced by most but not all countries. Well, you can't force people to do that. So this money will support the first dedicated national demining team in Laos and support grassroots groups such as Cambodian self-help demining. Let's have a look at these guys. I have a feeling we can see something pretty friggin' spectacular here. Let's go with video. And I'll find one that's fairly short. Okay. Let's just go with Cambodian demining and see what we've got here. They're using rats. They're using friggin' rats. Oh, that's glorious. Okay, that's France. If Christopher's still here, yeah, I don't blame you. I understand now. Landmine sniffing rats. Oh, terrible, terrible. Speaking of rats, I mean, sorry, that may have been a bad transition. So, now our Prime Minister is claiming that foreign actors are playing aggressive games with Canadian democracy and institutions. But only now is he saying that. Yeah. Okay, we're coming up on time, so I'm going to do one more story after this one, because I just think this one is going to make everybody's day. The Gambian pouched rat they use is giant and supposed to be really smart. Yeah, I think that was what the picture of the brown rat in the soldier's arms was. Sasquatch says his pops has a picture of his airborne squad on one, but the U.S. never had troops in Laos. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Patriot, just 1 second. That's only 1 million. Callum says, ah yes, Laos, the country that let Kami North Nam run arms and troops through their lands and loves it white and yellow powder. Yes. Yellow powder? I know the white powder might be a reference to Peruvian marching dust. The stuff that Robin Williams used to love. And pretty much every other performer in the 80s. And Stormy Eyes is agreeing with Sasquatch about Newfoundland dogs. Definitely not for riding. Spine is too springy. Fair enough. Well, then I will ride into battle on a chariot drawn by 15 savage Newfoundland dogs. Sasquatch, I have heard about the big stone heads in Laos. If I recall correctly, they're somewhat similar to the ones on Easter Island in terms of construction, but not necessarily in terms of construction, but not necessarily the shaping. Christopher's still here. Heard me say something about France and just popped his head off the desk or whatever he was doing. Brunchcast says, I actually heard about that. The Gambian pouched rat. Okay, I already covered that. And Sasquatch says we get bison. There is a guy on YouTube who rides a bison. If I recall correctly, he's from either Alberta or Saskatchewan. And it's really entertaining to watch someone actually galloping a bison. And yeah, I think in the great wars to come that we must embrace our ancestral bison riders. Okay, so let's talk about this knob. Get this out of the way before I go on to the fun bit. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says bad actors abroad are playing aggressive games with Canada's democracy and pledged Monday to support Canadian security agencies tasked with countering foreign influence operations in Canada. Now, before I go... Oh, well, never mind. This is pretty obvious. I was about to ask for a bet in chat as to which country you think might be might be most responsible for that. But Trudeau responded to a report that China funded 11 candidates in 2019 federal election. You will notice that I'm actually not saying anything. I haven't... oh, could not be found. Interesting. Yeah. 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 But now the Chinese are a problem. Yeah. 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 Oh, and he was at the groundbreaking ceremony for the production facility. So a global news story, which reported that Canadian intelligence officials alerted him in January to a Chinese campaign of interference. Let me just scroll back here. Oh, that's somewhere else. If you guys are hearing a phone ring, that's not mine. So this was posted November 8th and last updated November 8th. But this picture was taken November 7th. But Trudeau has known about this since fucking January. Yeah. And it's from an election from, well, 2 years ago. 3 years ago, technically. Let's have a look at that global news story real quick, and then I'll get to the good bit. Oh, it's already archived, too. Excellent. Zoom. There we are. Canadian intelligence warned PM Trudeau that China covertly funded 2019 election candidates. This was also published on the 7th of November. China has allegedly been targeting Canada with a vast campaign of foreign interference. Well, how dare they? That's Klaus Schwab's job. Anyway, we're seeing that countries, state actors from around the world, whether it's China or others... Oh, come on, Trudeau. Name the others, please. Yeah, playing aggressive games with our institutions, with our democracies. And yet again, don't you just love it when the people that we can't trust use the phrase, our democracy. Yeah. Trudeau did not commit to introducing any new laws to crack down on foreign influence operations in Canada. Well, of course not, because that would interfere with the people. Never mind. There are already significant laws and measures that our intelligence and security officials... Oh, hang on. Have to go against foreign actors operating on Canadian soil. And who is this fellow? Foreign Affairs critic Michael Chong called on the government to come up with a plan to counter Chinese interference operations in Canada. It's not just the Chinese we had to fight. Here we are. Here we are. Spokesman for China's foreign ministry. Now, here's where we see the ha-ha here. Said China's government has no interest in Canada's internal affairs. Yeah, blow me, you lying sack of bastard. Relations between countries can only be built on the basis of mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefit. China-Canada relations are no exception. That's a very smooth lie. The Canadian side should stop making remarks that would harm bilateral relations. In other words, stop talking about our spies, or we'll, stop doing business with you. To quote a favorite meme of mine, your terms are acceptable. Oh, no, cancel that. Accidentally. Bad click. Okay, so we're done with that one. So let me just delete a few things here. Delete that one. Oh, I do have to cover this one, which I really don't want to. Sasquatch says he's going to name his buffalo N Bison. I think you mean M Bison, but yes. Or maybe you do mean N. Actually, come to think of it, you guys are having quite the conversation about writing Bison in the chat. Let's see. Brunchcast. The only battle bison I know of is in Street Fighter 2. Oh my. I recall him being one of those 11 off the top of my head. Imagine it. The enemy will be Sasquatch. Imagine it. The enemy will be entranced by the gamboling bison till we burn them with hot poutine. If we can breed dwarf gators, we can fire dwarf gators from our bison-mounted trebuchets. Having Chinese troops on the American continent is like having Grosians in Tyrus prior to the Pendulum Wars. That's a Gears of War reference, okay? Calum Dayton, Lotus Eaters news. Italy is using a feminist's immigration policy. What? The fuck? Callum, if you want to drop a link to that in chat, I'll have a real fast look at that. I want to get out of here pretty quick, but the last story I'm going to cover is going to be pretty quick anyway. It's just enough to give everybody a good laugh. So hang on, I'll just do a quick search for it. Lotus Eaters, feminist Italian immigration. It's a weekend segment thing. Okay. I think my membership should still be enough to let me see that. Is this the one you're talking about, Callum? The why feminist immigration policy? Oh, excellent. That's even better. I'll just copy that link. But I think it probably is the same one. And for those of you who don't follow the Lotus Eaters, I wouldn't unrecommend them. Yeah, it's probably best not to make a feminist immigration policy joke. Sasquatch says we should hurl over even chihuahuas from our riding bisons. Matt Hancock, based Italy's meme policy. Okay. Well, I can't play any of that on my stream anyway. But if you guys are interested in what I tend to think still is a very good journalism outlet for a UK basis, check out the Lotus Eaters. A lot of their stuff is free. Currently, they're running a freemium campaign as well. Speaking of things I'd like you to check out, no, this one won't do it. I'm going to have to do that in the secret box real quick here. And just to really mess with you guys, I'm going to put my face on screen and see what happens here. Okay, now that's very weird. This is me having fun. Da 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 da. Okay, stop being a youngster. This one. And that one. Oops, I don't wish to do that. There, okay. Copy link. And close. Okay. Now. I will throw this here, and I'll throw it into the chat as well. But right away, I'll put that on pause, just in case YouTube wants to... I don't think they actually do eat lotus. So this is the... also, Patriot, if you want to throw your link into your channel, by all means. Anyone who wants to shill anything, go ahead. Now is the time. Before I jump into the last story and bounce out of here. But this is a piece that I was invited by the Stormin Mormon to join him and Aiden Paladin in debunking a Fifth Estate story about the Mormon Church. I actually learned quite a bit about the Mormon Church. Obviously, the Stormin Mormon being a Mormon, it was quite helpful. But yeah, and Aiden's academic background was also very, very enjoyable to bounce off of as well. In the background of my shot, you can see my battle flag. I do tend to create flags on a fairly regular basis. It's a hobby of mine. And also where a lot of my branding images and stuff are my own creation. I do believe, Sasquatch, that I said anyone who wants to shill their own channel can go ahead. And I do appreciate you having me on. I am sorry I haven't managed to find time to come on again. It's difficult when so many people keep going, come here, come here, come here. I'm like, no, I need to do my own thing too, you know? Callum's asking what I use to make my flags. Believe it or not, MS Paint. All of my graphics are done in MS Paint. My thumbnails, everything. And Sasquatch has been sick. Well, I hope you feel better soon, brother. And yes, every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7 o'clock in God's country. And yes, we do have live call-ins, and occasionally that can get pretty entertaining. So, let's move on to the last story of the day. Justin Trudeau to appear on Canada's Drag Race spin-off. Yes, I can hear many of you just howling with laughter already. But the Prime Minister will be the first world leader to appear on the competition series. And I love how they had to point out that it was Justin Trudeau on the right here. Because there may have been some confusion, I suppose. But Justin Trudeau is swinging by workroom. I assume that's a reference from Drag Race. But producers of the Drag Queen competition series say the Prime Minister will make a special appearance on Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World. He's the first world leader to visit the RuPaul-founded competition series. Had to get that name drop in there, even though RuPaul doesn't appear. Which has more than a dozen global spin-offs in countries including Sweden, Prime Night, what the fuck, Australia, Bezek, hey buddy, Mexico, and the United Kingdom. Monkey? Disco probably wouldn't go on Drag Race, but I could see Monkey. Now we know what Monkey does in his off time. No, that's me. An image from the set showed Trudeau beside Toronto drag queen and host Brooklyn Heights. Oh, that's cute. One thing I will say for drag performers. They do know how to craft a good pun. Canada versus the World expands beyond the borders of the regular series, inviting 9 international drag queens to vie for the crown as Canada serves as host country. Giselle Lullaby. Interesting. Episodes begin showing on Crave starting November 18th. That'll be in about 5 days. The series recently said guest judges for this season will include TV personality Jeannie Becker, previous winner Priyanka, and Juno winning singer Anju Lee. I'm trying to remember the song that Anju Lee was big for, and I can't. So I'll just do what a sensible person who has the sum total of human knowledge in my hands should do. Discography, chart performance, there we go, this will be faster. Let's see, dance recording, You and I, that's not what I'm thinking of. This is not helpful. Oh, she co-writes with Nicki Minaj on occasion. Say goodbye to junior high, I want you, don't call me baby. Big things, stand behind the music. Oh, this is quite irritating. I want to know what her... Okay, let's go back. Videos. Okay, apparently she... Oh, maybe it's Into the Fire I'm thinking of. In any case, actually, if we're going to talk about Canadian singers of color, I'm going to recommend you guys this one. And I highly recommend this video, Cry of the Warrior, to the point that I'm actually going to copy the link and throw it in chat. Oh, and this is actually a significantly older video than I thought it was. I only discovered this 2 or 3 years ago. Let's see. Let's take this off. So we're done with stories, so I can put the horribleness away. Let's see. Looking at chat. Okay, Sask says he feels fine, but he sounds like Marge from The Simpsons. Oof. You need to find one of Marge's longer speeches from earlier in The Simpsons and just read it directly into camera for a short, because that would be awesome. Let's see. Yep, Patriot is laughing for real. America doesn't get a Drag Race spinoff. We get the original. True. Prime Knight says they can keep the trans Swedes. Yes, we're all trans Texans here. Let's be honest. Is Crow's avatar still in drag? I do believe Crow's avatar was still in drag yesterday. I don't know if it remains that way today. Patriot says Angeli had a lot of big names on that album. Hard to imagine it turned a profit on sales directly. Christopher says, because the bald woodworker didn't notice me, check my Kickstarter. Okay. Again, I will say it. When I say go ahead and shill something in chat, that means go ahead and shill something in chat. I don't need to cue you people. You have your own agency. Come on. Let me see. Yes, and Christopher's is true. His Kickstarter does go off on the 15th of December. That is for, and correct me if I get this wrong, Christopher, it's for... Hey, I got there. Give it a minute. There is a significant amount of lag between Belgium and Newfoundland, you know. Patriot said something about a Nicki Minaj features like 100k plus. But yes, Christopher's Kickstarter will be going live on the 15th of December. That is in support of an art book, which sales from that will be supporting translation of his French writing to have it translated into English, if I have that correct. If I don't have it correct, and stop reeing at me, you Belgian. Up jumped French fry. But if I didn't get that right, please do clarify in chat if you'd like. So folks, I'm actually 10 minutes longer than I expected to be. I hope you found this entertaining. I certainly know that I found this... I had quite a good chuckle when I found that Drag Race story. And yes, I did... Oh, excuse me. I did make a mistake. Christopher is right. It's for the art book, which will be published in English. And he says if he's rich, he'll translate the novels, but translation is expensive. Yes, translation is exceptionally expensive. We've discussed the prices that he was looking at, and it made me think, maybe I should go back to school and really do my French better. Yeah. Patriot says, good show, bro. Be blessed. Thank you very much, my friend. For everyone here on the team in the studio, that'd be me. Thank you all for being here. And I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days. And of course, rise and rise again.